are very happy to welcome today one of Medfield's own storytellers, Kurt Jackson. So please come on over to the seats, grab a chair, and give it up for Kurt Jackson.
We got any kids out there? Any kids out there? Where are you? Come on up, I gotta see you. I'll take some adults too. All right, here we go. We got some kids. Oh, look at the costumes. We got some great costumes. Who else do we have out there? See, is that Elsa? I know it. And Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Who's that one? What are you back there? You're not telling me. Tell me, what are you? Marshmallow bat? Bag of marshmallows. That's awesome. That's so sweet. Isn't it sweet? All right. So, again, my name is Kurt Jackson. I am a children's storyteller. I've had a few adults listen as well and enjoy them, so stick around. Who's ever heard me tell a story before? All right. Michael, go way back, right? So I grew up with a best friend, and I said I would tell some scary but not too scary stories. So I'll stick to that. Unless you guys want who wants a really scary story? Oh my goodness, you do not. You're saying that now, but when you go to bed tonight, you'll be like, the story that Kurt Jackson told. I'm scared. Ah! All right, so growing up, I had my good friend, his name was Earl Wolf. Yeah, like a kind of wolf. And Earl and I, we used to love to run. We would run all over the neighborhood. And when we weren't running, I would sit down and I'd say, hey, Earl, tell me a story. And Earl would tell me some great story that he made up. And sometimes I would get to sleep over at Earl's house and we'd be laying there in bed and I'd say, hey, Earl. He'd be like, what? He'd say, tell me a story. So one time I'm sleeping over at Earl's house and I think we had breakfast for dinner, had some pancakes and some bacon, and it was time to go to bed after we had some marshmallows. We got a great big bag of marshmallows, and we opened them up. And I said, oh, this bag of marshmallows is delicious. And then we played with his Barbies. He had a couple of Barbies that we played around with. And so anyways, we decided it's time to go to bed, and we're laying there in bed. And then I said to Earl, I said, hey, Earl. And he said, what? I said, tell me a story. And he said, okay. He said, I want to tell you a story about this kid whose name was Tommy. And Tommy was a good kid. Tommy was, I don't know, anybody here in kindergarten? We got any kindergartners in here? Oh, there's a couple of kindergarten. Tommy was like in kindergarten. And he was good. He was good to his mom and dad. He was good to his teacher. And this is a really nice kid. But Tommy had a problem. And whenever Tommy would go to bed, Earl said to me, he couldn't keep his blankets on. So Tommy would be laying there in bed. And as soon as he started to fall asleep, he'd go. And off would go his blankets. And now his mom, she knew this. She'd come in the middle of the night, and she'd open the door, and she'd see Tommy laying there without any blankets. And she'd get upset. She'd come in, she'd go, Tommy! He'd wake up, what? I told you need to keep your blankets on. You keep your blankets. I know, Mom. I thought I had my blankets on when I went to bed, but you keep your blankets on or you're going to get sick. And poof, she closes the door. So there's Tommy. He's laying there. He's like, what do I got to do with it? Keep my blankets on. And he says, I know. This is what I'm going to do. I won't touch my blankets. I'm going to cross my arms. I'm going to close everything tight. Keep my eyes closed. I'm going to keep my eyes. I'm going to keep my arms, my legs. And he's just laying there like this. and he falls asleep. Off go the blankets. Again that night, Tommy's mother, she comes in, opens the door. She sees Tommy laying there without any blankets on. Ah, Tommy! Oh, what? You gotta keep your blankets on. I don't want you getting sick. I don't want you getting your sister sick. You gotta keep your blankets on. But Mom, I had a good idea. I had everything closed tight. You just keep your blankets on. She closed the door. So Tommy's like, that apparently did not work, keeping everything closed tight. So now I'm just not gonna touch anything. I'll keep everything open. So Earl says that Tommy's laying there and he's got his arms open, he's got his legs open, he's got his mouth open. And I'm not gonna touch my blanket. Off go the blankets. Here's Tommy laying there without any blankets. Again, his mom comes in, opens the door. Ah, Tommy! I want you to keep your blankets on. Tommy's like, what are they? But Mom, I had everything open. I wasn't touching my blanket. You don't have your blankets on. Look at you. You don't keep your blankets on. You need to keep your blanket. I don't want you getting sick. I don't want you getting your sister sick. I don't want you getting anybody else sick. Keep your blankets on. Okay, Mom. And she opens the door up. And she says, and if you don't keep your blankets on, the belly button monster is going to come and take away your belly button. That's what Tommy said. Belly button monster? That's the silliest thing. There's no such thing as the belly button monster. There is too, and you keep your blankets on. She closed the door. She left. And there's Tommy laying there. Belly button monster. I've never heard of something so silly. Squirrel says that Tommy starts falling back to sleep. Off come the blankets. He's got no idea. And there he is lying there. And who happens to be flying over Tommy's house but the belly button monster? Flying over all the houses, looking for the perfect belly button. I'm sitting there listening to Earl. I said, this is ridiculous. There's no such thing as a belly button monster. Belly button monster looks down, sees Tommy laying there without any blankets on, and lands right next to Tommy. And looks down, and there's Tommy, not wearing any blankets. And he looks at his belly, and he sees, that is the best belly button I have ever seen. It is the most beautiful belly button in the whole wide world. Look at it. It is so perfect. Oh, it's perfect over here, too. It is perfect here. It is the most perfect belly button in the whole wide world. And with that, the belly button monster opened up its belly button bag, reached down and picked Tommy's belly button right off of his belly and dropped it into its bag, looked inside the bag, and he knew which one was Tommy's because it is the best belly button in the whole bag. And he closed up his belly button bag and flew off with Tommy's belly button. Now, Tommy had no idea. He's just a normal kid laying there without any blankets on. And finally, like he always does, he wakes up in the middle of the night, almost sleepwalking. He goes downstairs. He goes into the kitchen. He opens up the cupboard, and he gets out some milk. He puts the glass down, and he pours himself some milk, and he starts drinking milk. Ding, 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 ding. And all of a sudden, milk starts coming from the hole out of his belly button. He's like, what is going on? What happened to my belly button? Wait. There is such thing as a belly button monster. And he took my belly button. I want my belly button back. So he goes and he gets a marshmallow out of the marshmallow bag that's up in the cupboard, and he takes the marshmallow and he sticks it in the hole where his belly button used to be. He's like, that's better. And he goes to finish his milk. Ding, 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 ding. And all of a sudden, out comes the milk. It's like, I can't even drink my milk. I gotta get my belly button back. So again, he takes the marshmallow, sticks it back in the hole. He's like, look at my pajamas. I just got these brand new skeleton pajamas, and it's all wet. I gotta go upstairs and I gotta take a bath. So he goes upstairs, hops in the bath, after he fills up the tub, of course. And he sits down, and all of a sudden, his belly starts to fill with bath water. He gets up out of the bed. He's like, oh no. I can't even take a bath. I can't even take a bath without my belly button. He tries it again. He sits back down and stands up. What am I going to do without my belly button? I got to get my belly button back. What can I do? I have an idea. I will go back to bed. I will pretend that I'm sleeping. And the belly button monster will come back. And then I'll get my belly button back. So Tommy goes up. He goes in the bed. He's laying there. And he pretends that he's sleeping. Off go his blankets. Now the belly button monster had been flying all over town looking for another perfect belly button, but could not find one. It decided, I cannot find another belly button. I think I will go back to Tommy's house, and maybe he will have another perfect belly button. So, there he is. All of a sudden, Tommy jumps up out of his bed and says, "Give me back my belly button!" The belly button monster goes, "Whoa!" Goes flying across the room and says, "Whoa, what are you screaming for?" And Tommy said, "I want my belly button back, and I know you have it. But I don't want to give it back." He says, "Please, may I have my belly button back? It's the only one I have." Well, he opens up his belly button bag and he looks in and he knows which one is Tommy's. It's the best belly button in the whole bag. And he reaches in He grabs out Tommy's belly button. And there's Tommy sitting up, waiting, and he starts to hum as he moves it closer to Tommy's belly. And all of a sudden, his belly button jumps off of his finger and lands right on Tommy's nose. It's on my nose! I know, it looks good on your nose. But I don't want a belly button on my nose. Please take it off. But it looks good on your nose. You could join the circus. You could be Tommy, the boy with the belly button on his nose. I don't want it on my nose. Please take it off my nose. Okay, fine. But you are a very difficult little boy. So he plucked it off of Tommy's nose, put it back on the end of his finger, and it jumped off of his finger and landed right in the middle of Tommy's head. It's on my forehead. I don't want it on my forehead. Oh, but it looks so wonderful there. It would be a good Halloween costume. You could be Tommy, the scary boy with a belly button on his head. I don't want this to be my Halloween costume. I want to be a Barbie or a marshmallow. Fine. And again, he plucked it off of Tommy's forehead, put it back on the end of his finger, and this time, it jumped off and landed right on Tommy's belly where it belongs. And Tommy went, oh, that feels so good. Thank you, thank you. The belly button monster said, you're welcome, but I'm going away from here and I'm never coming back because you are a very difficult little boy. And shoo. And he flew away. And Tommy never, ever, ever saw that belly button monster again. But from that day on, Tommy never, ever had a problem keeping on its blankets. The end. I said, Earl, that was an awesome story. He said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I said, where did you get that idea? He said, well, you know, it just comes to me. I said, but is there such thing as a belly button monster? What do you guys think? No, there's no such thing as a belly button monster, silly. That was his story. He's made up. So anyways, the next day happened to be Halloween. So I asked my mom and dad, I said, can I sleep over at Earl Wolf's house for Halloween? They said, of course you can. So I got my costume, and I got to stay over at Earl's. I said, Earl, where are we going? He says, I got a great neighborhood. It's going to be great. They give out big, giant candy bars. We go in there. I said, all right, let's do it. So we go off. We go trick-or-treating. We have a great time. And you guys ever use your pillowcases for your bag? You get your pillowcase and you can fit lots and lots of candy in your pillowcase. If you don't do it this year. You get lots of candy. So we both had by the time we were done, we both had this big, giant, huge pillowcase full of candy. And we didn't walk all the way home. So I said, Earl, let's cut through the graveyard. And Earl said, you sure you want to do that? I said, yeah, let's cut through the graveyard and we'll get home quicker and we can count our candy. And he said, oh, okay. So we started walking through the graveyard. And we're walking through and I'm looking behind me, looking around. Well, all of a sudden, we hear, poof. I said, Earl. He said, yeah, Kurt. I said, did you hear that? He said, no, I didn't hear anything. I said, okay. So we kept walking. starting to sweat because I got that big old bag of candy, and all of a sudden I hear, poof, poof. I said, Earl, I definitely heard something that time. Did you hear it? He said, yeah, I thought I heard something. And we turn around and we look behind us and we see this coffin. You know, the coffin that has vampires in it, and it's standing straight up. And I'm like, did you see that before? And he's like, no, I did not see that before. I said, let's walk a little faster. So we start walking a little faster, and then we hear, and the coffin is following us. I said, Earl, let's get out of the graveyard. So we start running, as we said, booking it. We start booking it, and the coffin is following us. I said, Earl, this is crazy. We got to get out of here. So we run out of the graveyard. We start running down the street. And the coffin is chasing us down the street. So I said, we got to duck. So we go and we hide underneath the car, and coffin keeps going. So I said, phew. All right, let's go home. So we start walking home, and all of a sudden we hear, and we look, and here comes the coffin chasing us. So we start running down the street, and the coffin's chasing us down the street. I said, Earl, we gotta get. So we jumped over a fence. Jumped over the fence, we kept going. There was another fence. We jumped over that fence. We jumped over another fence. And then we looked, and all of a sudden we heard. It's still behind us. I said, we gotta get out of here, Earl. Let's get to your house. So we're running down the street as fast as, now I told you, this is all Earl and I did was ran, so we could run fast. But there's no outrunning a coffin. So I said, Earl, get your key ready. We're almost at your house. He got his key out. His mom and dad's at the movies. So he's running, he gets his key out. I look down the road and here comes the coffin. I said, Earl, it's coming. Get your key in the door. So Earl's like fumbling, trying to get his key in the door. Finally, he gets the key, turns it, puts it in the door. We close the door behind us. And I look, and at the end of his walkway, there's the coffin, standing at the end of his walkway. I said, Earl, it's out there. So Earl leaves me, and he runs up these stairs. I said, Earl, where are you going? And all of a sudden, I look, here comes the coffin. And I look, and it's right outside of his door. And all of a sudden, the door went, and I said, Earl, where are you? Earl comes running down the stairs, and he's got this little box in his hand. I said, what are you doing, Earl? He said, get out of the way. And here comes the coffin in the house. I said, Earl. And he opened up the little box, and he pulled out a cough drop, and he threw it at the coffin. And the coffin stopped. The end. So this Halloween, if you're being chased by a coffin, make sure you have in your possession what? Some cough drops. Don't forget them. I know they don't taste as good as candy, but they're necessary. I want to thank you guys for listening to those stories. And I got to thank Earl Wolf, my good friend, for sharing some wonderful stories that I could share with you guys today. Did you guys enjoy that? I know you're out there listening. Thank you guys. Thank Medfield TV for having me. Happy Halloween. And how are those scarecrows doing over there? I got to go check them out.